Your fragrance questions answered. So I get a lot of fragrance questions every single day in my comments, and I do try to answer them all, but sometimes I take some of them and answer them in a video like this. So without further ado, let's do this. So the first question is, which one is the best for everyday use in the Y line? Make sure you check out my everyday fragrances video that I did not too long ago. I talk about some of my absolute favorite Y fragrances for everyday use in that video. Pretty much the entire line is done in a way that's great for everyday use. So I do think it's hard to go wrong, and I do think you should go with the one you enjoy the most. But I do think that Y Eau de Parfum, Y Eau de Parfum Intense and Y Le Parfum are more balanced in a way that makes them pretty much perfect for everyday use. You get a bit of aromatic and spicy freshness, a bit of depth, and in the case of Y Eau de Parfum and Le Parfum, also a bit of fruitiness. Y Eau de Parfum Intense is the smoother version of Y Eau de Parfum without its fruity sweetness, so perfect if you prefer something like that. I truly like them all, and once again I do suggest that you go with the one you enjoy the most. So next up, how do you spray Chanel Allure Sport Eau Extreme properly for projection? So Chanel Allure Sport Eau Extreme has pretty good longevity on my skin and even better on clothes. So if I want something a bit more intimate and just for myself, I usually go with 5 to 6 sprays. But if I want a more noticeable scent cloud that others more easily can pick up on, I often go with something around 10 sprays. And sometimes I also top it up every now and then with a travel atomizer. So next up, which is the best 1 million fragrance? So I will do a full 1 million comparison later on, and right now I'm not exactly sure which I think is the best. But if I go by the ones that are not discontinued, I do reach for 1 million royal more. As you can see, I put quite a dent to it, so not saying 1 million royal is the best, and I will do a full comparison later on, but this is definitely the one I currently reach for the most. So next up, rate my duo are my Urban Man Elixir and La Tafa Camera. So I recently did a fragrance duo video. I'm gonna link to that one above, so make sure you check it out. I think Urban Man Elixir and Camera makes a great duo to use throughout the year. Urban Man Elixir smells great with its versatile Dior Sauvage inspired scent, solid everyday scent. And Camera when something warmer and sweeter is needed. Great duo. So next up, so Code Parfum is the most versatile. They confuse me with all the flankers. So this question was on my Armani Code comparison video. I'm gonna link to that video above, so make sure you check it out. I think all three are scents that can be used throughout the year. None of them are too heavy or too intense in any way. But Code Parfum, to me at least, is definitely the most versatile out of the three, simply because of its more intensely powdery fresh scent. Moving on to the second question around the same three fragrances. Which one would you recommend for an office setting? I think they all work for that, so go with the one you enjoy the most. But once again, I do feel that Code Parfum is the best one for that. So next up, I was hoping to get some suggestions on what to add to my collection next. So far, I have Jean Paul Gaultier Elixir, Spice Bomb Extreme, Tom Ford Ombre Leather, Azzaro The Most Wanted, and Chanel Allure Sport Eau Extreme. So these types of questions are never easy to answer because taste is subjective and all of that. But based on what you already have, I would probably add something that is more sort of a versatile. You already have some fantastic warmer and more intense scents. Something that just works regardless of occasion and season. Y Eau de Parfum, Dior Homme 2020, Sauvage Eau de Parfum, and Invictus Parfum are all fragrances I feel are great choices for that. Or maybe add a fresh scent to your collection if you like fresh scents. Acqua di Gio Profondo, Missoni Wave, and Sadly are all great freshes, and if you love sweet freshes, then Le Beau, the OG from Jean Paul Gaultier, is one of my favorites for that. So next up is Zara Shamanilla, a feminine scent. I did a first impression of 5 of the ones in the Vibe Variations line, and Shamanilla is currently one of my most used ones in the line. To me, it's a sweet vanilla that's a bit woody and powdery with a coconutty kind of scent to it. I mostly use it for layering with my other coconut focus scents. I think it's unisex, but masculine and feminine is so subjective and you might feel differently. So next up, Male Le Parfum or Azzaro The Most Wanted. If you watch a lot of my other videos, then you know that I absolutely love both of these. It's almost impossible to choose because both of these are absolute bangers. And like always, go with the one you like the most. One is basically a powder and spicy vanilla, and the other is a mix of sexy spiciness, sweetness, and woodiness. If you prefer something powdery with vanilla, then yeah, it's definitely Le Male Le Parfum. If not, then this one, the most wanted, is probably a better choice for you. Again, I absolutely love both. So next up, my wedding is in February, so please suggest a perfume in the 3 to 4K range that feels royal and modern as well. Another one that's very hard to answer because it really depends on what you like. I mean, there are so many fragrances to choose from. But for 50 bucks, I think either Casamat Barrique or Armaf Untold are great scents, both inspired by Baccarat Rouge 540. If you like powdery scents, then Prada L'Homme is a very classy powdery fresh scent that's incredibly likable. So next up, I'm almost pulling the trigger on Chanel Allure Sport Eau Extreme, but some people say it's quite similar to Versace Pour Homme, and I already have that one. Do you think it's redundant to have both in the collection? I think they are quite different and I use them differently. So next up is Valentino Uomo Intense, a powerful attention grabber. I call it the sex bomb for a reason, yes. Valentino Uomo Intense is definitely an attention grabber. When it comes to performance, I rate my bottle around 8 out of 10. So on my skin, it's a strong scent, but not quite beast mode. Someone else might get a different kind of performance. So next up is Champogotti Ultra Male, good for year round. I think Ultra Male is a fantastic, sweet and fruity scent, and Ultra Male is definitely one of the very best pair focus scents ever made. But good for year round is so subjective and definitely depends on different things. If the question is, can you use it in every season? Then yeah, just make sure you adjust your sprays depending on the weather and how it performs on your skin. If the question is, do I think it's a good year-round, everyday to any occasion kind of fragrance, then I would choose something else. For everyday use, I do prefer more sort of a balanced sense, and I highly recommend checking out my everyday fragrances video for more fragrances that I prefer for that. So next up, Versace Eros Flame or Ralph Lauren Polo Red. If I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go with Flame, but like always, go with the one you like the most. So next up, would you consider Armani Code Parfum to be a soft powdery scent? I get the same vibe and feel as Prada L'Homme. Both of them are definitely some of the very best versatile powdery scents. To me, Prada L'Homme is soft in the sense that it's not sharp in any way. A prominent dose of powdery freshness, but of the soft kind. And I think Code Parfum is almost in the same category, but not as soft. It's got a bit more bite to it, but yeah, they are pretty much sort of similar in that sense. So almost in the same category. Scent-wise though, they are not the same. So next up, which is better for fall and winter? Champogotti Le Parfum or Versace Eros Eau de Parfum? I think both work. Both definitely work. But I would probably go with Le Parfum. If I already have the most wanted Eau de Parfum and want to add an additional fragrance, would you suggest Prada L'Homme Intense or Le Parfum? Like always, go with the one you like the most. I think both are bangers, but I would probably go with Le Parfum first. What would be the best occasion to wear Mancera Red tobacco? I think it's a scent for when you really want to stand out. When you're going out, or for special occasions. It is intense, quite in your face, and definitely not the most versatile scent there is. Definitely when you want to get noticed. So next up, confuse between Parfums de Marly Layton and Initio Side Effect for the first niche fragrance. What's your thought on this? So both are my fragrances for life, and I do think that both are absolutely fantastic, but they are also quite different. If I had to choose, I would probably choose Layton first. I feel it has a bit more versatility to it, with Side Effect being more of a going out kind of scent, going on dates, but like always, go with the one you like the most and the one you feel you need the most. So next up, would you prefer YSOY Le Parfum or Azzaro the most wanted Eau de Parfum? Two very different fragrances, and I do think that the choice really comes down to what kind of scent you need. While Le Parfum is the more versatile out of the two and a solid choice as an everyday fragrance. The most wanted Eau de Parfum is a banger that I absolutely love. If I would choose, I would go with the most wanted Eau de Parfum unless I needed a more versatile kind of scent. But scent-wise, I do like the most wanted Eau de Parfum more. Again, these two are so different. So next up is Givenchy Gentleman or Prada L'Homme Intense, and I would definitely go with Prada L'Homme Intense. If you had to choose, Dunhill Agar Wood or Dunhill Egyptian Smoke. Both are some of my absolute favorites from this line from Dunhill. And I think both are incredibly well made and smell way more expensive than they are. I would choose Agar Wood though. I gave it 10 out of 10 in my review and this to me is an absolutely fantastic fragrance. Next up, do you think it's worth having Champo Gaultier Le Male Elixir and Scandal Absolu? Or do they smell too similar? Both are sweet scents, so they are a bit similar in that way, but scent-wise I do think they are quite different. Scandal Absolu is one of my favorite releases of 2024 and Le Male Elixir was to me the best release of 2023, so I definitely like both. Why EDP or Missoni Wave or Azzaro Chrome? I would rank them as this. First, why Eau de Parfum, second Missoni Wave, and third Azzaro Chrome. However, go with the one you like the most. Like this video, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you check out the videos over there and I'll see you in the next one.